serve. Listen, this is not just something we're talking about. It's something that we are living. And so, Dr. Rice, let's get back into this story in this book and how you've been able to so wonderfully be such a tremendous blessing to so many women. And, God is using you as a catalyst because people trust you. And I have to tell you about a conversation that I had with a woman at our church who called to me about some situation that she was going through with her daughter. And I said to her, have you gotten Dr. Rice's book? And she said, I recommended that she talk with you. And she said, I bought her book, she said, and it was almost like my story. And I know you have heard that.
I've heard that many times, yes. In the introduction, you will see where I said their story is my story.
Mm-hmm.
There's dysfunction in every family, but many families, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It goes really deep. You can hardly find the root, more or less than pluck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where many of the women have been, especially when we become saved. It's a stigma. We are saved now. We don't want anybody to know what we used to be. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing to be proud of, but if it's going to help somebody,
mm-hmm.
then we need to let somebody know that God
mm-hmm.
is an instant
mm-hmm.
forgiver.
I love that.
Instantly.
Yeah.
We talked about tarrying a long time ago,
mm-hmm.
but we weren't waiting on God. God was waiting on us.
Mm-hmm.
So when we come to him with that sincere heart, he will do what needs to be done. Sometimes we don't even know what we need,
mm-hmm.
But God knows it all. He looks down into the crevices of our very being,
mm-hmm.
and he touches that place that needs to be touched. One thing, I'm not going to say too much about the details of the book, but the thing that brought healing to me the most was when my mother and I were able to really come together.
Mm-hmm.
Mother, daughter,
mm-hmm.
friend, sister,
mm-hmm.
ministering together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was one of the highlights for me,
mm-hmm.
knowing that God had truly answered my prayer, because even after I got saved, I still just respected my mom.
Right.
But he fixed it.
Yeah,
and
that
good. Makes it good.
I felt that. Yeah, and I think that's a critical part, because what I'm hearing you say, without you saying, is that when you have that kind of trauma, that it is important for the girl to have her mother,
yes,
or mother figure, but more importantly, the mother that believes in her, that believes her,
And it's also important for a girl to have her father.
Sure.
And I missed that in my life until I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another pivoting point for me.
Mm-hmm.
When my mom married, my dream came true.
Mm-hmm.
She could not have married a better man.
Mm-hmm.
Only man I ever in my life called daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I miss them both so much.
Yeah, and that's true. And certainly, I certainly agree with that. I was a daddy's girl, but I was just speaking to the point about the rupture between the relationship between you and your mom, mm-hmm. and how having that reputation of being a liar and her not really coming to your rescue, because really mm-hmm. that's what parents we're supposed to do.
Exactly.
We're supposed to rescue our kids. In the rescuing is believing them when they say that they're in trouble. And so when I hear you say God fixed it, not only hear you, but I felt that.
Yes, he fixed it. He definitely fixed it.
That made a tremendous difference.
Yes,
in your life.
Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would have done if we had not had that union together
mm-hmm.
before she passed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have made it in life at all,
mm-hmm.
because it would have always been that point where it would haunt me.
Mm-hmm.
But in God's timing,
right,
he made it right. He made it right.
Yeah, and I think, and I've heard so many stories from women that they when they went to their mothers didn't believe them, or their mother, it appeared, chose the man over them, And you've heard these stories too,
Many times.
all too often. And so, what advice would you give to a mother who is in this situation? You know, her daughter is coming saying, because I've heard stories where daughters have gone to the mother and say, he looked at me and it made me feel uncomfortable. Not yet the touching, but he looked at me and made me feel uncomfortable. And, I've heard it on both ways. The mom acted and the mom didn't do anything. So what's your advice to a mother if this situation is presented to her?
First of all, I think moms should watch their daughters, especially their daughters, but you need to watch the sons as well. You can tell when your kids start to change. They start acting out in different ways. And you need to watch a little closer to find out what's making them change and disobedient. And if it's not disobedience, it's usually temper tantrums, things like that. Because kids earlier and earlier are being molested.
Right.
This is nothing new. It goes way back, but it's more frequent now. You hear about it more frequently. Right. So we need to really pay attention. Sometimes I would like to just walk up to a parent sometime and ask, can I speak with you? Because I see what's going on with the child. Now, I was not the perfect parent. I didn't know how to be a perfect parent. I wasn't even what you call a very good parent, but I was the best I knew how to be.
Sure.
But if I had paid more attention to some of the things that were going on, I wouldn't have missed some signals.
Sure.
Especially from my boys. So we really need to pay attention. Today, parents want to be friends.